Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, let's talk about the fields. And I've covered this with one of my previous videos talking about the analog and digital. And this is very critical when we're dealing with energies of manifestation, and of course the energies that make all the other energies. Electromagnetic spectrum is the lowest energetic spectrum there is. And this is, of course, electromagnetism is generated through a very imbecilic process. We're using generators that we spin, and they have to turn to create electromagnetism or electricity, otherwise often called turbines, generators, etc. And this is basically, I'm not going to get into it and bore everybody. They're electric generators. And of course, generally they're made up of wires. How do they work? Just like any generator works, you have to have a motor to spin it. That's why they run on gasoline or whatever it is. We have generators like this that run on hydropower. That's how your dams run. That's how we get energy, which is basically free by having water move it. These are all the type of things that we have out there, but the process is doing the same. We generate electricity from particularly nuclear power, which everybody thinks is something uranium-based, but uranium just creates a steam engine. How do steam engines work? They work from steam. How does steam generated? It's usually generated by burning something. And of course, uranium burns water, creating steam that then moves again, back to this very primitive generating system. The problem with this generating system is while it's very crude and very easy to make, and these have been going on for hundreds of years, of the generation of electricity goes back now. We can go back to a lot, but I don't want to get into details so the ignoramus like, oh, it was really 19:01 at 2 p.m., not really 19:02 at 5 o'clock. So you imbeciles out there that think like that, go do everybody a favor and go play on the freeway. So the whole idea is that when all of this comes together, we have to understand. So let's get away from this sophisticated electric. You think it's sophisticated because you plug in what you think is a sophisticated technology, like a computer, and to the wall, and you get something happening to it. And you think this is electric and based. Electric is moving stuff. And I don't want to get into the minutiae of all this stuff, but we have to understand what a primitive energy. So a nuclear power plant, as dangerous and horrible as they are, is nothing more than a steam engine to run generators. That's what you're doing. So how do you burn water? Well, you can burn water by burning a lot of wood. This is how it started off with. Caveman did, otherwise known as your scientists. Yeah, the caveman scientists who continue to perpetrate this day, the ignoramic boobs out there who have failed and then want to be philosophical scientists. Huh, Sean Carroll? You're now a physical. Yeah, he thinks he's the Aristotle of modern science. Ooh, it makes me goofy just thinking about it. So the whole idea is that that's all you're doing. When you burn oil, you're doing the same thing. You're burning oil to create heat that then turns generators. So let's remember that's how it is. And it's all about the generator. Without the generator, nothing happens. But you can't turn generators unless you want to get a million squirrels or a bunch of stupid people, which plenty of them out there. We certainly could do that, to sit on a giant crank and turn it all day. I mean, we have entire nations of morons that would be, their time would be not wasted doing that. But that's another issue. So that's really what you're doing. That then produces, quote, electricity that can't be handled, can't be stored, or anything else. This is the big problem with electricity, that we can't store it. So we generate it, and if it isn't used, it's just burnt off into the atmosphere. Another thing few people seem to understand. Now, the transmission of electromagnetic signals or energy is done through conductivity. Conductivity is when everything is connected. So if you want to run whatever appliance that is of yours, whether it's your refrigerator, your microwave, or your little garbage computer, you got to plug it in. And it's not just plugging it into the wall socket. That socket then goes to a appliance. And we can demonstrate that right here with this. This is plugged into an electrical socket that is drawing electricity from the major circuit that was generated through a generator that was somehow powered, usually by oil, natural gas, whatever it burns, because we're so sophisticated as the groups. You know, our scientists are giving off, let's burn something. Yeah, Og, the caveman, told me that. So that burns something to turn our generators, which then send the electricity up to here. Now, how come this don't work? It don't work, Dr. Thor, I don't get it. Well, you have to create conductivity. So you're then taking that very primitive electromagnetic energy, you're putting it together and creating a circuit here, meaning this connects to this, or conductivity. Without conductivity, it doesn't work. Watch this. Ooh, that makes me so warm and fuzzy, Doctor. That makes me so, look at that. Look at the power of conductivity. So let's unconductivity it. Oh, me think that's bad, Dr. Thor. No good. What happened? Miracle of conductivity taken away. So we're going to reconnect it because I went to school. And we do this. And you can see the light comes on. Conductivity is working, not in itself, but it's triggering electrical items in here, circuits, that then are a circuit for an LED light. This is the volume, which again is flowing energy into the tube here through a potentiometer. And you can regulate this as you would on a stereo system. Now, you've got to understand that that is all part of the process, and there's all sorts of little Gibson gadgets here. And, of course, this is working through a very sophisticated tube, valves, as they call them. But this is a precursor to the actual laser. Actually, this has been shrunk down and made into a laser, and that's how these things work. But tubes are very fascinating. They're little machines unto themselves. We won't get into that sophisticated stuff because modern science has rejected it. We have transistors. Ooh, we make little stuff, make it crappy so it works worse. So understanding that is understanding the primitiveness of electromagnetism, which is extremely primitive. And basically, you're taking electromagnetism or electricity to trigger the components here to make this light up, etc. Electricity doesn't do that directly. It has to go into something else that does that. So remember that. So, and of course, you can control it. Here's a way of turning the conductivity off going into the unit manually. This is turn this whole thing off, and of course, everything has went off. Now, when you activate conductivity, it comes back on, and you can see how that happens. Now, everybody kind of understands that, but I don't think people, you have this in your life, but you really don't use it to any great extent or think about it unless you're an advanced engineer like myself dealing with the non-electromagnetic energies. Now, conductivity is not part of new energy. That's all part of old stuff that is very primitive. Now, when we have ancient societies who built pyramids and giant structures and were able to move 50 tons without the wheel and everything else, they were not using conductivity because there's no electrical power wire in the middle of the jungle. You don't have a wire going to a generator to move blocks in ancient Egypt to build pyramids and so many other places. There were no electroconductivity available then. So making something like this, which encompasses primitive ways of functioning, this is the AC versus DC debate that went with Nikola Tesla, was the fact that direct current, which is what we use all the time, that's what anything that battery powered is direct current. And we all use batteries all the time. Whether they are charged up from actual directly, here's a battery. This is then charged up through a USB. But in the end, to get this to work and to get this light to come on, the battery is running it. This again was charged through electricity. So this is DC power. Now, DC power or direct current is something that is very limited in its broadcast ability. So DC power couldn't really go more than a couple of miles, even with giant generators. So what won out was AC. AC is this. And they can send it through your house and do it for unlimited, and they can amplify it, etc. So this is why AC won over DC, because DC means you'd have to build generating plants every few miles. This would be impossible and would never be able to handle the demand of modern times. But when we get past that, when we're talking about not having wires like this in the jungle, or I'm still looking for the electrical cord on all these pyramids and other things to find out how they work, even though they generate energies by their shape form. And of course, it's not even shape form, but so many other things. There's ways of generating power without using this primitive electromagnetic system, which is really the preschool, the kindergarten, the ignorant, buffoonish child of the world. Ways of powering things which we give such homage to. Like, we do that to everything that's inferior and terrible because we have no other answers to it. So we praise it as how great it is. Certainly, electricity is a necessity in our society. Everything we own is basically electrical, right down to our toothbrushes now. So the whole idea is we give it false praise, but really it's crap technology. And it certainly would be a crappy world without it until we found a proper way of going over that, not using it. But in general, we want to figure a way to use the primitive electromagnetic fields and generate them, move those generators, spin those generators by using energies that are renewable and clean. Like hydrogen that's been around for a couple of 100 years. No, you're right. So, but let's ignore that. We gotta buy toxins. You gotta keep your little local crook going. So the whole idea is that this is how the world works, and people are more than happy to live off of that to make sure that they're taken care of while the rest of the world starves and is destroyed. It's all the typical human reality. So the whole idea is that when you're dealing with non-electromagnetic fields, which are dealt with in, quote, scalar, quote, radionics, and all the other terms you want to use there, the popular one now is to get away from the kind of misnomer of radionics, which only I understand personally. Nobody else understands radionics. They don't really have any idea what those energies are. So the good word to explain this, which has been defined by schmientists, the boobs out there, as being scalar. And scalar, of course, is this non-electromagnetic transfer of energy, informational energetic fields. Now, some of this is going on today electrical-wise. There are things now that they can send frequencies that carry electrical charges with them. So you can charge something at a distance. And of course, this is known technology that's being used today. So you can actually, and there are things that we use today, things that when you lay your cell phone on top of one of these chargers that don't require direct conductivity, you're getting conductivity by laying the phone on the charger. And it's making connections through a frequency wave at a very short distance, able to then charge your phone. This kind of stuff isn't used very much. It's a little bit difficult to get conductivity and to work at a high level. So most things are some sort of direct conductivity, whether you're dropping something through a USB cable that is a metal-to-metal conductivity, or you are plugging something in, etc. You don't see too many of those anymore. And while this started out there, it's something that didn't catch on well, and I'm assuming the technology is fairly poor. But again, you're getting conductivity and you're getting it through electromagnetic waves that are then being picked up and projected out. Seems to me that's a sloppy way to do it and probably uses a lot of additional energy instead of just really connecting something together. Is that too tough for the people? I can't plug something in. It's kind of hard on my brain. So the whole idea is that these are the type of things that have problems. But certainly you can take electrical energies, electromagnetic energies and frequencies, and broadcast them to charge something. So we're getting into the realm of real energies again, which is the non-electromagnetic. Now, the non-electromagnetic moves energies through the non-electromagnetic spectrum. And because of the boobish idiots who've kept us in Flintstone world of technologies, Gilligan's Island, where they make everything out of coconuts and have been for over 100 years, we don't have really any advanced technologies whatsoever. I mean, we really don't have any advanced equipment whatsoever. And of course, AI, which there's no such thing as artificial intelligence, is nothing more than a sloppy program that fills in some very common blanks for you. Really doesn't do much of anything. I've looked at a lot of AI recently and people that use these for letters and everything. It's a lot of babble. It's a lot of flowery words that really don't mean anything. So you got a lot to read and you say, gee, that sounds nice. There's just no substance to it. It's like putting a screen door on a submarine. Looks nice, doesn't work too well in the long run. So the whole idea is that we have to be very, very careful of using all this. So it's bogus technology for a bogus public. And we've been using, quote, AI as has been called many things in many systems, but all the big businesses have been using it for years to eliminate employees to look at things. Algorithms is what they call it. So if you spend too much money or make too much money with PayPal, they close your account because that's not normal for you. If you do anything out of the ordinary on eBay, on Amazon, or anything else, red flags go up. Why is this person making money? Why is he selling 1,000 of these now when he didn't do it before? That immediately says that you're a crook, because that's how they work. And of course, these companies are crooks, so they think everybody else is crooks. So these are the kind of things which have no basis in anything. So if you put up an empty bottle on eBay, because you can't sell alcohol there, saying, here's a classic empty bottle, it will pull your listing because you're selling alcohol. Artificial intelligence doesn't get that it's empty. Gee, that's high thinking, Dr. Thor. Between empty and full, well, I can't figure that out. All alcohol is alcohol, isn't it? So the whole idea is this is the kind of stuff that people want to fall to their knees and praise the idiots out there to make this garbage stuff. But this is typical of the inferior technology that everybody thinks is perfectly fine to make sure that they can continue to control you in ways that you think is wonderful. After all, they told you it was wonderful. So they still haven't solved any of our problems, but we have AI to tell us what is alcohol and not alcohol. Oh, thank you, science. So the whole idea is that we have all these problems that go on. Now, when you're dealing with actual non-electromagnetic fields at the highest level, because we don't have meters because we don't have the money to do that right now. If we had the millions that regular science have to achieve a level of failure that is unprecedented in society of what they've done with all the money and achieved so little is just shocking. So the bottom line is that you don't know of any of this stuff and are unaware of it. So an electromagnetic field, non-electromagnetic field, I should say, which runs these scalar radionic type machines, is an energy that encompasses everything. So you don't need conductivity. Now, if this was a pure scalar unit and we were dealing with sending it actual energies, we would then not need to have it plugged in. We would get the same results by not having it directly conductive. Now, this isn't available right at this time, but it's not what the kind of energies we're using. We're not using scalar energies to affect primitive tools like this. This works okay, and if we don't use toxic things to generate energy, it's really not a bad idea, kind of. So, but everybody should have their own and can with hydrogen energy. You should have your own power plant in your own house, or your own power plant in your car, and you wouldn't really have to use any of these things, mess up the world by having all these electrical wire lines everywhere, creating huge electromagnetic fields that are dangerous. All these power lines and everything else create strong electromagnetic energies, which basically aren't good for you. But ultimately, you should have your own that way. That's why you would keep it condensed in your own house. But again, why think anything that makes sense? After all, that means that you'd have to cut out the power company, the frauds and criminals they are. So basically what you would have is that you would set up a generation system that when you actually triggered something like this, it would continue to light up. But we're not using those. Again, that's low-level energetic use. What we want to do is send informational energetic fields in here that are then amplified to do very higher work, important work, which interacts with healing you, building your consciousness, sending you wisdom, all the things that really count. If we were a wisdom-filled people, we wouldn't be having shit like this. We wouldn't have crappy wiring. We wouldn't be burning stuff to pollute our planet so we can have a flashlight at night. We wouldn't need to do that. So when you're dealing with radionic type equipment, whether it's in many different forms, whether it's a radionic type of box like this, we're dealing with energies that are at a very higher level. So this kind of energy is then manipulating consciousness energies, wisdom, high-level healing energies, and that's the essence of everything. You got to remember that scalar energies make electromagnetic energy that you see here. This is the essence of everything. This is a low-level kindergarten energy that we are using today because it's been forced upon us and because we have an entire dumbademia that continues to look at what's common and what they've been taught in their classes, brainwashing people to believe the same old crap science, which in this case works to a degree, but in a very primitive and bad way. As long as we have to burn stuff to generate stuff to make this light up, it's a bad technology. As soon as we figure out how to make renewable non-toxic, and that includes nuclear energy, which is highly dangerous and pretty much has destroyed the Earth already because they're all leaking and we have toxified our planet to an unbelievably high level. And it will continue because they want to build more nuclear power plants. So we can have more little toys like this to keep us a light on in our radiated home as we can watch ourselves die of diseases and pain and watch our families, watch our parents, watch our pets, watch our relatives, watch our friends die from poisoning that they have delivered to us. So that's how serious it is, people. But again, this is idiot technology. This isn't even kindergarten. It's preschool. What you generate to get this to light up. This is the highest level. This is the level of energy. And of course, not this exact tool. What we're doing now as an advanced organization is we're combining the non-electromagnetic scalar fields in with amplification and transfer of using this kind of energy. It's a hybrid energy so that we take care of it because this energy doesn't have the money. It's not that it doesn't work. If I had the money that these people had to produce what dumbademia has put trillions of dollars into failure, and they all should be really put on trial as traitors and treason, that they have blown our money and come up with nothing. All these scientists, these theoretical scientists who basically are nothing more than traitors, and the only thing they've ever really made is weapons to kill people. Oh, thank you. So the whole idea is that's the reality of it. So that's the difference. Now, what we do is we use these to carry this energy now because that's all we have. But this energy doesn't need direct conductivity. This energy, when transferred over to here through what are disks or other things, and this is what I have designed, is the different energy transfer disks. And there are many types of them, etc., that I produce, and this is the real energy. So when you get an energy transfer disk, such as these, this takes the energy, the scalar energy, that is here, transferred into the scalar energy over here. Now, this energy encompasses this whole thing. It goes in every part of it and transmutes that. And we have transmutation disk as well. It's a complicated process to do this properly, but it transmutes all of this primitive electromagnetic energy into a usable scalar machine so that this can then pick up scalar energies, uses the primitive older energy to then transfer it to something else. And you need to have basic conductivity. You need to have enough energy so this tube works. Now, if you don't use electricity, you're not benefiting from the primitive energies we have here, and why wouldn't you? But that's not what moves the locomotive. That's not moving your train down the road when it comes to higher energy fields of prosperity, healing, wisdom, etc. We go on and on with the real energies of life instead of running your toothbrush. So the whole idea is that that's what this does. So this will then transfer. So this transfers scalar energy into here, which amplifies the scalar energy and then sends it to a transmitter to a particular target. And this energy can be anything, as I mentioned, prosperity, well-being, wisdom, not just running your toothbrush. That's what this kind of stuff is for. But that's how it works in general. And you have to understand the scalar wave of energy and the electromagnetic wave. Now, we use both here because it's needed, because scalar energies, we just don't have the research money to be able to have a scalar energy box like this run the electrical components of this. And it would take a lot of work and why not just use electricity and piggyback the energies on? It just makes a lot of sense. And as I said, if the energy powering this was renewable and clean, which we certainly have, and there are hundreds of ways to generate electricity that are clean. And we have lots of them today. Hydro, we have earth thermal energies where you use that. Everything produces energy on this planet because it's so needed. Everything is in a form of breaking down. Breaking down creates heat. Heat then creates energy to turn turbines like we do by either burning water with a nuclear power plant, or we burn fossil fuels, etc. So it's as simple as that. But that's the reality of the two. But they're completely different energy. This is a primitive electromagnetic field that has very limited primitive results. This energy, even in totalitarity, meaning the fact that electromagnetism is a form of scalar energy, a primitive form to begin with. Scalar energies create electromagnetism from the informational energetic fields of the universe. That's how it works. So the whole idea is it just isn't targeted enough to get this kind of primitive movement of lighting something, running energy through here, getting all these things. It's not up to that level because it's never been researched properly. But we all know that these non-electromagnetic energies generated by pyramids and those people out there who love orgone so much, these are non-electric energy condensers that then can run electromagnetic devices like this. This has been proven. People have used pyramids to light things. Wilhelm Reich did this in himself, converting orgone into electrical energy. So what is creating what here? Did the electrical energy create orgone? Did it create pyramid energy? Well, of course not, because it doesn't even exist without man making it. So what exactly has happened here is that these energies, these informational energetic fields that create everything in the universe, all life that we know of, is the highest level that then converts itself into electromagnetic. Electromagnetic then runs things like motors and generators and other things that produce energy to then have these things work like this. So that is the core of everything. So I would recommend people listen to this lecture many times. That's how the universe works. Now, we have an entire course on this called The Great Path, which you can listen to. And this video is going to become part of it to understand the electromagnetic and the non-electromagnetic, the informational energetic fields formed in the universe that then create everything. Remember, this is imbecilic low level. This is kindergarten. This is preschool energies. This is your most advanced learning that you can say. Whatever you want to call that, doctorates, PhDs, whatever it is, that goes into that. If that has any value, most of those people are pretty stupid. But the whole idea is that that's the reality of it. This creates everything, including this. This then, the electricity then powers things like an amplifier or light or a car engine or everything else that goes with that. So that is part of the actual process. So we need to understand that in the bigger picture. And of course, this is what has stumped your idiot scientists, your who's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, waste their time writing books and talking to a bunch of bogus idiots in every medium they can get their hands on to perpetrate their own crimes against humanity, because they're preaching stuff that is foul and incorrect. We need to take the stink out of it, and those people who continue to want to perpetrate this foul crime against humanity should be people that should be put on trial for treason. We have lost so much because of their criminality and them supporting criminal people, and all they really do is make more weapons of destruction to kill everybody, yet they have no answers for anything else. But this is your really foundation that should be taught in every single school from kindergarten all on up of how the world works. So hopefully this has filled in everything for you people and that you actually get it. This is what, of course, all of off-world technology is based upon, and we keep developing it up to stronger and stronger levels. Someday this will actually power this, and you'll see it with no conductivity into an electrical field. You'll see that work that way. That's the coming of the future, people. That's really what's out there, and we are close to doing that. Remember, there's no reality until the manifesting scientist creates it. All the rest are lies, and it's about time you learn the truth and stop living in a lie and stop supporting liars. Until next time.